Hello, everyone. Welcome to the SAMPS webinar today. We're really glad you joined us for what's going to be a really engaging and, as Valentina likes to say, spicy session on LinkedIn Mastery. I'm your host, Jasmine Gria Gray, and I'm also a member of the SAMPS Board of Directors, and I'll be moderating today's session. Before we get started with the main event, I just want to tell you a little bit about SAMPS. SAMPS stands for Sales and Marketing Professionals in Science. We're an all-volunteer community, now 5,000 members strong, dedicated to helping life science commercial professionals network, learn, and build a competitive edge in the growth of their careers. If you're not yet a member, I would strongly encourage you to join. It's easy and quick and free. Just go to samps.org. And please, while you're at it, also invite colleagues and industry friends who benefit from our community. The key upcoming event that I'd like to make you aware of is the SAMPS Annual North American Conference, which will be held this year on December 3rd and 4th in Boston. The theme is Human AI Advantage in Life Science Sales and Marketing. And this full-day immersive experience will focus on practical strategies to combine human judgment with AI to improve customer acquisition, experience, loyalty, and win rates. The keynote speaker that Valentina and I both know is Stacy Sherman, who is the founder of Doing CX Right, and she's been ranked as one of the global top 30 customer service gurus from 2021 to 2025. I'd like to invite everyone on the webinar to register today. Again, that's at samps.org. And now to the webinar. In today's topic, Valentina Escobar Gonzalez will be discussing LinkedIn Mastery. We know that on LinkedIn, scientific sales and marketing professionals don't just post, they prospect, educate, and open doors. This session is about mastering the platform so your profile signals authority, your content earns trust, and your outreach engages the right labs and the right buying teams. You'll leave with repeatable moves to grow visibility, build relationships, and turn activity into pipeline. I'm pleased to introduce Valentina. She is a bilingual social media strategist, the founder of Beyond Engagement, and co-author of the most amazing marketing book ever. For over a decade, she's trained leaders and teams across small businesses, nonprofits, and education, speaking at America's SBDC and appearing on national marketing podcasts. Known for her show up energy and practical story driven training, today she's bringing that cross industry toolkit to life sciences and practical LinkedIn plays you can put to work immediately. All right, well, over to you, Valentina.
Well, I'm so glad to be here today. Jasmine, thank you for that wonderful introduction. That was wonderful. You deserve a cookie for this. I am so going to spice things up. And unlike a lot of webinars where you attend and you're just taking notes, eating your, lunch right now, we're going to be taking a couple of pauses to make sure that we get the work done. I want you to leave here and actually have some things to do. And you see a profile and you see a difference in your profile. So I'm gonna stop looking at myself. I'm gonna turn off my video for a second and I'm gonna share my screen and hopefully we can get this started. So let me see here, open up my slides and let me see. Do you see my slides, Jasmine?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm gonna just minimize our faces here and let's get started with LinkedIn. So we're gonna cover a lot of topics today. I'm trying to slow down my pace. If you hear the accent, I'm from Miami, Florida, so I talk fast and loud, but I'm gonna slow my tempo here for you today. So we're gonna talk about increasing organic reach, engagement tips, and these are great strategies for being top of mind. We're not going to be sales pitchy. We're going to be top of mind here. And then we're going to talk about posting, the secret sauce to posting. And then we're going to have some homework assignments. So let's talk a little bit about this platform. Unlike other social media platforms, we're seeing a huge engagement rate by this platform versus the other one. So if you look here, and I love showing charts and art and the graphics for everyone here, so you can get an idea of what to expect. But this is one of the most trusted networks, as you can see in this slide here, 234 million members. It's one of the most trusted networks in the United States. And very importantly, it offers quality leads. Four of the five members are in charge of making business decisions. And then compared to the average web audience, LinkedIn users have 2 times the buying power. But this stat right here is either when I talk to small business owners, I usually tell them 39% of millionaires are on LinkedIn. And that usually is like, oh my goodness, that's so impressive. But with you all, I wanted to give you something with a funnel. 89% of business to business marketers use LinkedIn as an effective source of lead generations, and 62% say it produces leads for them. This is according to Sprout Social. So when we look at our LinkedIn profile, and this is a screenshot of my LinkedIn profile, they say that you get 14% more views if you have your LinkedIn profile complete. So let's take a look. And this is a good time for me to pause, and maybe you want to open up your phone, or your, if you're on your computer, your another monitor or a desktop, and look here and see if you have a recent picture. I can't tell you how many times I work with people and they haven't updated their pictures since, and I'm not judging you, since before COVID. So this will be a good time to think, okay, do I have a new picture? Do I need to set up a session with someone, or just take a good relevant picture of myself? Because I've had a little bit more gray since before COVID, so I've updated my picture. Another thing to point here is the cover image. I can't tell you how many people have either a lot of graphics or a lot of words in their cover photo. And if you're looking at this from a computer versus a phone, it's going to look so different and it's going to be hard to see. Another thing to know here is that big blue square or rectangle, the contact information. A lot of people have their contact information unavailable to see if you're not connected to the person on LinkedIn. Or if you have contact information, it's an old email from college that you probably don't have access to. So double check. I want to just take another second to pause here. Go into your contact information and tell me and check there if that information is up to date. When you start updating your profile with the little pencil icon, you can actually add a new call to action. This is something they've added in the past year, where you can put a link to your website or a landing page and actually customize the call to action. So in my case, I put book Valentina now. Now, the next thing I wanted to show you is onto the right-hand side, you can customize your LinkedIn URL. So in the past, I used to be very into horses. I actually have a degree in animal sciences, specifically in the horse industry. So for a long time, when I first graduated and I started working on my personal presence, my personal brand, I started going by Equine Valentina. So that has stayed like that. I'm not going to change that because it's a really good story. If you want to have a cookie with me, or some people like to drink wine, this will be a good story to tell you about my past life in the science industry. But that is something that you want to customize, because most people, it's first name, last name, and then a sequence of numbers that has nothing to do with them. So you definitely can customize that and do the pencil icon. So LinkedIn profiles. So I kind of warned Adam, who's manning the Zoom here, and Jasmine that I was gonna throw them under the bus and use them as case studies. So this is a really good meme. I love this one because this is so true. We are being so critical about our LinkedIn profile, but let's just get some examples of good profiles. So Adam, I know you can't talk right now, but I'm gonna use you as a case study. I've actually met Adam in real life, and he actually looks like this, like in real life. This is a great picture of him, and it really tells you his spirit, his nice smile. I love this picture of him. And if you look at the cover photo, that cover photo is the logo of the company that he works for. And then it shows there. If you really squint your eyes, you can see that he's a HubSpot partner. And so this is a good thing because it adds credibility. He is an expert. He is a partner with HubSpot. So I just wanted to emphasize this, and we're going to really dissect the headline, which is what is under Adam's names here. So this is super important. So let's look at and think what would be a good cover photo. So this is a great example of a cover photo. This is a great example of a picture from him, and it makes you want to connect with him, right? Like, doesn't he have this inspire that makes you want to, get to know him better? Another person that is also part of this association is Matt Wilkinson. He is so amazing. He's super bright. I just love hearing him speak and learning about AI with him. But this is a great picture of him. And I love the yellow because it makes him pop and it reflects his brand coloring. But look at his cover photo. It kind of makes you want to think that he's amplifying his voice and he has that science background. And his headline is International Speaker Marketing AI Strategist for the Life Sciences. You can't get more simpler than that. That just tells you exactly what he's known for. Next is the features section. I want to go on a little rant here. You have to toot your own horn. I don't know if this is just catered to the US or beyond, but this is something I want to harp on. You worked hard to get this PhD, this master's degree, this degree in general. You have to put yourself out there. So, luckily, there's a way on LinkedIn to feature what you have to say. And no matter what you post today, tomorrow, next week, these are things that you can pin, like on Facebook, but in this case, it's called featured. So you can feature this information on your profile. This is a chance to toot your own horn, to put yourself as a thought leader. So on LinkedIn, you have this section on your profile called feature. So you can have a link. And if you click on this link where my face is right here and with the arrow, it takes you directly to my Calendly link. So it's one of those few opportunities on LinkedIn where someone can just click on something and it takes you to that information where they can get a book a call with me. The next thing you want to do is maybe have an article or something that you've posted or published recently. So this is a new article that I did when I first moved to this area. I just moved here from Tennessee. I just moved to Pennsylvania. So I wanted to talk about how I've been able to build relationships with people like in a short amount of time using my strategies. So I have that article. Then I have a video. So in case people are like, let me see what this girl sounds like or how she thinks, I have a video of myself. So these are really good opportunities to really cultivate a relationship with people just by showing your expertise. So again, I want you to look at your LinkedIn profile right now and see where can I post this? Where can I highlight this? So go to past posts. You could just go to the three dots on a past post and then you can pin it to your profile or have it featured on your profile. And then after a certain time, if you have to have something new added, you can unpin it from your profile. Okay, next thing. Jasmine, I don't know if you want to unmute or not, but I'm going to feature you. This is great, especially for the ladies in the audience. I love this first sentence. This is the about section. This is where we get to know you. A lot of people think of this as the CV or like the cover letter when you're sending a resume, but this is not a resume. This is an opportunity to share what you have to do, what you do right now. Where are you gone? How was the journey like? So I'm not going to read the whole thing here from Jasmine, but I love what she says here. From hot mess to align customer focus, go to market across portfolio launches and growth. I'm a fractional CMO. That's it. I'm not going to read the whole thing. But I love the word hot mess to aligned. That takes a lot of audacity, a lot of courage to say, hey, I was a hot mess, but now I'm aligned. I love the story of what she's done, how she came to this position, how she's doing this. So tell us a story. Did you like do something like me? I studied animal sciences, but now I'm a marketer. Tell us a little bit about your journey. Tell us how you solve problems. This is a great opportunity to think outside the box, to have someone build rapport with you. If you're a parent, if you have a certain type of hobby, maybe you think differently because of this hobby. That really builds a relationship with someone. Another example is Matt again. I'm going to use his about section. AI is rewriting the rules of marketing in real time. And most life sciences companies are still playing by the old rules. And when I'm reading this, I'm thinking of him with his British accent. While the others debate the disruption, I help you win the real game. Training AI systems with content and building emotional resonance strong enough to make customers ask for your brand by name. How like bold is that? How bold is this? So I have a strategy where I teach you a good prompt. So we're going to get to that in the next slide. Finally, I'm going to end with Adam here in one sentence. Look at this. He already sets the stage here. In one sentence, I'm a seasoned strategic marketing leader with experience in the life sciences, high growth tech, and manufacturing. That pretty much sums up his three audiences. And in several more sentences, and then he keeps on going. So and then he's like, let me get more specific. And then he just does that. And I love the quote that he has here. Adam gets stuff done. He's inquisitive, strategic, and really amazing at what he does. Like, that is so amazing. For the ladies in the audience, you don't have to do this. You don't have to toot your horn this much, but put something out there. Let us know that you're a thought leader. Tell us something that you can quantify with numbers to really dive deep about what you're known for. How do you translate that? How do you quantify what you've done in your role here? So I go to ChatGPT, and when we think about ChatGPT, I always give it these four things. I give it a role, I give it an action, I give it context, and I execute. So in this case, I do this. I say, you are a marketing consultant. So that's my role. I'm a marketing consultant. I'm a business owner. I give it an action. Help me create a persuasive LinkedIn headline. So that's my action. I give it context. I cater to business leaders, business coaches, aspiring authors, small business owners. So you might give it a couple of, people you cater to. I want you to give me a persuasive LinkedIn headline that's going to, based off of this information. So I give it the about section. So if you wanted this prompt, I'm not sales pitchy, but this will be a good way to get that. This is a QR code to my email newsletter. My next email newsletter, I'm going to share this prompt and I'm going to share this information. So this will be a good thing to take this. And this will be a good time for me to have a sip of water because I've been going on and off for like about 10 minutes here. So if you wanted to get your phone out and scan this QR code, this will be a great opportunity to get this prompt. If you didn't get it, I'll show it at the end. But if you're like, oh, Valentina, I don't want to get an email, so I'm gonna just share it with you anyways. Here it is. I'm such a nice person. So create a persuasive LinkedIn headline that caters to blank, blank, blank. Identify your three target audiences, and then use that section, that about section. So you know how I was going crazy reading these things out loud, and maybe you're taking notes. Maybe you're actually working on your about section right now. So you're going through this, you're like, I really like what Jasmine said that she's a fractional CMO. I really like what Matt wrote here. I solve impossible projects when a client needed a break to an unguarded, whatever. Like, I like that. I really like what Adam said, that someone said this about him. Maybe I should add that. Someone always says that I'm this. This will be a good time to add that information. So you feed ChatGPT this prompt, your whatever, create a persuasive LinkedIn headline that caters to identify your audiences, and then use that summary from that about section that you probably worked on for like an hour or two at this point. And then if you have a website or a link for people to get to know you, I would enter that in the prompt. So in my case, I put my website beyond-engagement.com. And it created this beautiful, beautiful headline that catered to what I was looking for. So this is something to think about. So when you have something, right now you probably have something very simple. And now with that prompt, you can go crazy, like this example here, where you can really embellish and highlight and quantify. I love what this girl says, runs this thing down 95% year over year. Like, that really makes her shine versus entry level marketer. So growing your audience, they say that you're more persuasive if you have mutual connections. People are more likely to connect with you if you have mutual connections. So this will be a good time to, if you attend this event, especially the one that they're talking about in December, if you attend this event, maybe you have work colleagues, maybe you're working with someone right now, or a lead or a hot client, or you went to a conference. So Matt, Jasmine, and I went to the same conference, and I'm wearing the same sweater they were given. Like, maybe you want to customize a note and say, hey, we met at this conference. I want to stay connect with you because I really enjoyed our time and our dinner talking about blank. But this is me most of the time when I go to a networking event. I know we're entering the holiday season, so this is a funny example here, but I do this. But I customize the invitation. I take my time and say, okay, we met at this conference, we discussed this. I want to get to know you better. But don't sales pitch. Goodness gracious. How many times have I connected with someone on LinkedIn and I actually hesitate sometimes to connect with someone? I look at their profile, but immediately they do this. I don't want you to do this. I don't want you to connect with someone and immediately sales pitch them. I want you to be mindful and thoughtful. I want you to like and engage with their posts several times before asking for something. I really want you to take the time to engage with people's posts. I read a Forbes article that basically gave me a panic attack. It said that 50 to 60% of your business is from your current customers. Well, 5 to 20% is from the new people. So here we are trying to get these new customers, get these new connections when we just need to cultivate the relationships that we have with current people that we know that we've met in real life, or someone that we've connected with. So this is one of my favorite tips. I do this all the time. If I'm working with someone that I really am interested in, like Jasmine, she's so awesome. She is so cool. She's so amazing. I just love all stuff that I've learned from her. So I turn on the bell icon. I connect with them on LinkedIn, and then there's a bell icon on their profile. So again, think about it. Who are your hype people? Who are the people that support you? Your biggest customers, people you actually want to work with, people that are prospects. This will be a good opportunity to turn on the bell icon and build rapport, because again, I'm going to say this again, 50 to 60% of our business is from our current customers, while 5 to 20% is the new people. So here we are trying to get these new people when we just need to like and engage with these people's posts. So when you turn on the bell notification, it gives you an option where you can actually get notified of their updates. If I wasn't presenting right now with you at the moment, it would say so and so has posted on LinkedIn, and I'm actually looking at it right now. And it would normally tell me she just posted, so I immediately jump on their post, like and engage with their post, and give Jasmine a substantial comment. Not like, oh, great job, great article, very insightful. No, I really take the time to read the article, or I might skim it and then just copy and paste a quote that she said in the article and mention it in the comment. I'm showing this arrow again for the people that are just tuning in and might have missed this. A lot of people have their contact information that's out of date. It's an old email, it's an old work email, or what have you. Maybe you don't even have your email or your phone number visible. So I wanted to mention that very quickly. If you go to the settings, under your name or your face, there is a thing called settings. You go under visibility. Make sure, this is super critical. I'm looking at the time here because I'm talking very fast right now. If you go under settings, under visibility, a lot of you all don't have the email address or the phone number or your website visible to people that are not connected to you. And this would be a good time to look at the chat here. I've not looked at the chat. I have not. If you have any questions right now, this would be a good time to put it in the Q&A section. I am jumping like 1,000 miles per hour right now. So I'm very passionate about this. But if you go under settings, you go under visibility, this will be a good time to check if your contact information is up to date, if people can actually find you and contact you on your profile based on first degree, second degree, third degree connections. So again, first degree connections are people you've already connected with. Second degree are people that know of the people you're connected with. And third degree are people that you don't have connections with at all. So let me go into the next slide. The secret sauce to being a thought leader is all about the engagement on LinkedIn. So what you want to do, you follow company pages, business pages, association pages, like the association that we're part of right here. I want you to start following the posts. And then another thing is I want you to post, if you're gonna post, a lot of people are like, Valentina, I hate posting, I'm a lurker, I love looking at people's posts. If you decide to post, I want you to post only once a day. If you post more than once a day, it hides subsequent posts. So let's say if you post something like an hour ago, I don't want you posting again until a day later because it hides subsequent posts by 99%. The second thing is I want to mention about posting in that first hour that you post. I'm going to say this very slowly because it's a lot of math here. In that first hour that you post, it's only showing, LinkedIn is only showing that post to 10% of your audience. So only 10% of your audience is seeing that post. So you're not going to get up and be like, wait, I posted, I did what Valentina said to do. I'm done for the day. That was very stressful. It took me hours. It took me hours to come up with the LinkedIn post. I don't want you to post and go. So you're not going to get up and walk away and have your sandwich or your lunch right now. I want you to check and keep your phone or your computer handy and see if people are commenting because it's pushing that post in that first hour to 10% of your audience. Another thing I want you to think about, I want you to engage with others. When you post something on LinkedIn, it gets 1/10 the reach. When you comment on other people's posts, it gets 1/3 the reach. Let me repeat that again for the people in the back that didn't hear me right now, or the people that are multitasking. When you post, it gets 1/10 the reach. When you comment on people's posts, it gets 1/3 the reach. So the secret sauce is engaging with other people's posts, taking the time to looking through the feed there and seeing where you can put your 2 cents. The best time to post, people normally ask me, Valentina, when is the best time to post? If you look at this chart here, it looks like the best time to post is Tuesdays and Thursdays, preferably between 8 to 11 o'clock in the morning. If you are an international person that caters to the globe, you might want to post initially at that time where you live and then a second wave, and repost the actual post. Like literally click the repost button 6 to 8 hours later. That's only if you're special like that and you cater to people outside of your area. Now, I'm going to flip the script here. I'm going to flip the script. This is going to be funny. Um, my thing is, when is the best time for people to leave you a good comment? So I was at DC for an event that I was a lead instructor for, and we all had to go to DC for this event, and this lady works for the White House. She was a remarkable speaker. I heard her present. I'm like, oh, I got to take a picture with her before she runs out of the building. So I stopped her and I'm like, Brett, your story was so relational. Like I loved what you said about how your mother was a solopreneur, or she worked for herself, and every time she went on vacation, she always brought her laptop with her. And I'm like, I really identify with her because I rarely have gone on vacation. The few times that I've been on vacation without my laptop. So I'm like, you know what? When is the best time to post the fact that I took a picture with her and to tag her in a post? I'm like, the best time would probably be on Sundays. Like, right? Isn't everyone's schedule a little bit smoother on Sundays? You have brunch, you're having that extra cup of coffee, you're scrolling through your social media, specifically LinkedIn. And I'm like, I think the best time to tag her in a post and hopefully she sees it because, she's pretty fancy. She works at the White House, would be a Sunday morning, like that sweet spot when everyone's thinking about having that second cup of coffee. So I tagged her in the post and literally she saw it and she shared it to her followers. And that was a tremendous moment. But so it goes back to the best time to post according to this chart is Tuesdays and Thursdays. To me, it's not so much. It's more about when do people have the time to leave a comment? So then the post gets a lot more traction and it gets more eyeballs. So just experiment, maybe do a type A, B testing and say, okay, is it better to post it on Tuesday or on a Sunday, at 9 or 10 o'clock? And now, when you go on LinkedIn, a lot of people, I'm not going to look at you. I'm not judging you. I think I can't even see who's on the call right now, unfortunately. So I'm not judging you. I don't know who's here right now. Every time you go on LinkedIn, I want you to look at your notifications. Let's talk about the first arrow, the network. When was the last time you checked your network and saw all these requests from people? And maybe it's a lot of people that you don't know. But once in a while, there's that special person that you're like, oh, I didn't know so and so is working for this company. These people, even if you don't know them, they might leave you a message. They might send you a request and then they might send a message like how I did in a couple of slides ago. Then like you met at this event and you talked about this and you want to follow up and talk about that. So basically look at the messaging. Now, like a yellow arrow, it's a different color for a reason. I'm looking at my notifications and I turn off the birthday notifications, I turn off the happy anniversary notifications, but I'm actively looking at who viewed my profile. This is a true story. I was looking at this thing who's viewed my profile, and her name's Amanda. And literally Amanda saw my profile. I'm like, why is Amanda looking at my profile? What have I? So I messaged her like, Amanda, hey, why are you looking at my profile? I straight up asked her. And I haven't spoken to her in a while at that point. She's like, Valentina, I'm so glad you reached out to me. I got distracted. And guess what? I need you to do a LinkedIn workshop for my organization. No joke. So it was all because I'm looking at this. So I was able to do a LinkedIn presentation for her organization. Literally had just dropped my mom off at the airport. It was literally right after Thanksgiving. My eyes were still puffy from crying. And I walk into this presentation and it would all happen because, I looked at who's looking at my profile. I followed up with them. It's two steps. One, two. First step is looking at who's seen your profile, actively looking at this because if you have a free profile like I have, I don't have the premium, I'm not paying that extra money a month. It only shows me maybe three or five recent people that are looking at my profile. So I'm constantly looking at viewing my profile and following up with that person, especially if I know them. This is like the long-winded story. I'm sorry I got passionate about this, but this is something that I just really want to harp on is following up with people as well. This is, I hope like I'm mentally hearing people laugh. So I have the ability that if I'm looking at your profile, you can see that it's me where I'm live, my face. Like I don't have it blocked. I don't have anonymous. I don't say what my title is. Like I show you everything. It's an open book. Some people have their profile set where you can't see who it is, what their name is, not even their picture, nothing. So I have it open that if you can see everything about me, and that gives me ability to see who's looking at my profile. Some people just prefer to be anonymous, but for the most part, I can kind of see, if not their face, what or industry they're in. By the way, okay, I'm gonna go on a little rant here. Make sure you're very mindful of what you're liking and engaging with. I love this hilarious newsletter called the Marketing Millennials newsletter. They're hilarious. It's the funniest thing. Brace yourself. I had the funniest slide in the next slide. But I have no idea who Chase Dimon is. But because I love the Marketing Millennials newsletter that I've subscribed to on LinkedIn, he's showing up on my feed. So this is the power of liking and commenting because people that you're not connected to will show up on your feed. So if for those of you that like to look at what your competitors are doing, I could care less about what my competitors are doing. But if you like looking at what your competitors are doing, you can go to a company profile and the company pages, and you can see all these analytics, all this information readily available for you. And then you can look at their post. Okay, this is my moment to stop talking. I want you to think and look at this this visual and tell me you're not laughing. So I'm gonna just take a second here and have a little bit of tea. Like I virtually hear you laughing somehow. Like I know someone's laughing in the audience here. What I love about this is that you can go to the Marketing Millennials. This is just a page here, and I can look at their posts. I can see their likes, comments, and then see how they are responding to people's comments. Again, I want to read this just because I love reading it. Why is dentistry important? Because even though he's missing an eyebrow, the first thing you notice is his smile. Okay. My most important slide. Anything you post should be of value to someone's career. Offer a tip, inspire, be relevant, or come from a credible source. So when I post stuff on LinkedIn, I always try to keep these things handy. If I'm going to post an article, I try to source it and mention it in the link. And by the way, if you use links, this is super important. This is like my ninja tips here that I've heard from an expert. When you post a link in your actual post in the caption, it reduces reach by 50%. Let me repeat that again for the people in the back. Link with a post cuts reach by 50%. So you can do two things. You can post what you have to say and then edit the post and add the link, or you can add the link and say, hey, it's in the comments. And you say in the caption, link is provided in the comments. And other people do a lot is they post a link with a preview image. It reduces engagement by 75%. Let me repeat that. When you post a link with a preview image, it reduces engagement by 75%. So try not to post something that has a link preview image, it auto populates an image. So this is very important to mention. So your checklist. If we can go back and repeat a couple of things here. I want you to change a couple of things in your profile. I'm going to go back a couple of slides here just to reiterate this stuff. I want you to look at your profile, see what you can add your contact information. Make sure your contact information is up to date. You have a good call to action. You have a good headline under your profile. You make sure that you put something that's really relevant about you in the summary section, in the about section. Quantify it. Put a story. Say how you ended up doing this because you were doing something else. I want you to add the featured section. I want you to add a link to for someone to contact you. Maybe a post that you thought was very special. Or maybe, you know what, if you never post, find something that you can post, even if it's something, related to your industry, something that you can put that makes you a thought leader. I want you to use ChatGPT. Use a prompt that's going to make the headline persuasive or cater to those audiences that you cater to, and make sure it stands out. I want you to take the time to look through your list of people that you know. Who can you connect with that you haven't talked to? Maybe you're attending a conference. Maybe you want to connect with the people that are attendants. Maybe you can start following the people that are going to be speakers at this conference, specifically the one in December that's coming up. What can you do? Connect with them. Don't sales pitch them. Start doing the little bell icon. So here it says, I'm looking at the chat here. Are you going to talk about LinkedIn for companies? I will not be talking about LinkedIn for companies because I wanted to specifically cater to you in building your personal brand. If you have any questions, I'm going to share my contact information and we can definitely talk about that in a private message. But if I wanted to share something very important, the big thing right now with LinkedIn is having text only. If you're doing company pages, it's so important to think about what are we going to share, what are we going to post that's going to cater to our audiences, what's going to compel employees to share our post. So that's something that's very mindful when it comes to company pages. So let me go back to my slides here. My homework assignment for you all, this is something that will help you increase your profile views from 300 to 500% is doing this. I want you to take the time to comment on 3 people 3 times a day for 5 days. And this should increase your profile views. These are people looking at your profile from 300 to 500%. What this means is you're going to breakfast or right after your morning cup of coffee, you're going to take the time and scroll through your feed and engage with 3 people's posts. Then after lunch or right now, like literally right now, you can do this too, hopefully when I stop, but you can take the time to engage with people's posts. Or, like I did this recently. Someone that works at a big company here where I live was in a podcast episode. I literally listened to the 12-minute podcast. It was perfect. 12 minutes. You can't complain. That's a perfect time. That's how much time it takes me to fold laundry. I literally listened to the podcast episode and I commented and I said, "Hey, I really like the story about how your parents were, you were an immigrant from Lebanon and how you grew up here and you became a single mom and how you raised your daughter and like it was such a beautiful story that she shared about what she's been through. And anyone that looks at that comment would be like, man, she really did take the time to listen to that 12-minute podcast and really listen to my story about how I grew up. But basically I left a substantial comment. So again, after that morning cup of coffee, after lunch, sometime in the evening, I want you to take the time to comment on these 3 people 3 times a day and see if that can help you increase your profile views, have more people look at your post. So I commented, one of my favorite, my mentor, one of my favorite marketers of all time, posted something and he said something about his personal brand class. I'm like and as you can see here, I wish everyone took your courses because it's so jam-packed with actual useful practical tips, and not to mention the joy of being with you in a small cohort. That is the best gift someone can give to themselves. Look at this. Look at this. I left a comment in his post here and then it got 492 impressions. 492 people might have seen this post. And the fact that he comment back, that was beautiful. So the comments, you see, I didn't just say, "Oh, great course," or "Yeah, I should sign up for it." No, I actually physically took the class, but I said, "I wish everyone took your courses." And you can tell that I loved the class that I took with him. And you see how many impressions that got. So one action item you can also do as well is if you go to your profile, there is a section called analytics. You can track how your profile is doing from one week to the next. And if you have a newsletter, it shows you, how many more people subscribe and that great stuff. It says here, increase your visibility by posting or commenting. We suggest taking 3 actions a week. And I'm trying to hold back the laughter here. I did 14 of the 3 actions. So I went over and beyond here. I posted, and I've been resisting to post about, I've had a very busy week. All I've done is repost. By the way, I didn't mention this earlier. When you repost something, so let's say you're reposting your company's pages stuff, it doesn't count against your daily post unless you do a repost with your thoughts and you add your actual post comments with that. Again, repost doesn't count against your daily post. But I have bad news. Uh-oh, I have something bad to share with you. Hopefully you don't hate me. This is you're gonna. And I actually emailed someone that I'm gonna meet next week. And I'm like, hey, by the way, every time that you repost, it only reaches 1% of your audience. And I'm pausing here because I'm like, man, I'm gonna probably get this guy angry, and I'm gonna meet him next week for the first time. I'm like, look, I see that you're always reposting your company's posts from the pages, but guess what? Only 1% of your audience is actually seeing that. And if you add your blurb above that, only 0.5% are actually seeing that repost that you did of the company that you work for. He still wants to meet with me, so I guess that was good that I shared that with him. But this is I want to mention this. We post. It says one post. Members who post once per week on average see up to 4 times more profile views. And then it says I had 13 comments. Members who comment once per week on average see up to 3 times more profile views. So again, if you look at your profile, you go to analytics, it's gonna, if you go into see more, you can see these things, this information, the analytics. I always like to see, like I'm always like pushing myself. I'm like, ooh, I got 300 more profile views this week. Like I'm always pushing myself. So I want to thank you all. I know I went 1,000 miles per hour. If there's any questions, I love questions. I am not judging you. I can't even see who's on the call right now. So if you have any questions, it'll be a good time to send it over to Jasmine. Uh, I thought this was funny. I literally did this presentation for someone that lives here and she's an Aussie, she's Australian. She laughed hysterically when she saw this. This was so funny. So I just envisioned her laughing here. Oh, by the way, if you want to learn more about LinkedIn, speaking of Jasmine, she looks awesome here. Matt and Jasmine asked me super duper spicier, very like life case studies. Like it was super crazy, these questions that they asked me. So if you want to check it out, these slides, I know everyone's gonna ask, these slides I will email to Adam and Jasmine. So they'll have these slides and I think they're gonna send it out. And I think there's gonna be a recording. Hopefully I didn't like spill the beans on that. But this podcast, if you want to take this to the next level, you got to listen to this podcast. It was so much fun. We got a little bit, I thought I got hot. My face got flushed because it was so spicy. Again, here's my QR code. If you have any questions, here's you can get my newsletter. I share all my information. I'm going to share the prompt. I'm going to follow up with this. It's going to be crazy fun. Again, I'm a co-author of the most amazing marketing book ever. Even though we talked about LinkedIn today, my chapter was on Instagram and being intentional about your building relationships on Instagram. If you have a question, you're like, hey, I don't like being spammed with email, just reach out to me. Here is my email address, valentina@beyond-engagement.com. And if you're like me, I love talking on the phone. There's my phone number. I love talking on the phone. As you can tell, I'm going to be long-winded, so just be mindful of that. And that's it. Okay, so I need to stop the share. I'm going to show my face. Hopefully, I'm not too like flushed here. Okay, Jasmine, boom. What do you think?
Awesome. I love the tips. And I just want to remind everybody, whether you're in marketing, whether you're in sales, business development, field application, field service engineer, you're all brand ambassadors. You're
Hmm.
all representing not only your personal brand, but the company brand as well. And a fantastic way to build soft trust with existing customers as well as future customers is on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
So with that, let's get to some of these questions.
All right, let's do it.
Um, you gave some interesting stats about how adding links and previews to your posts impacts post visibility.
Yes.
Where did those stats come from?
So I heard this from an expert on LinkedIn who's one of the top gurus, and he shared these stats with me. So I want you to look at these stats. And now that you know this, be mindful of when you incorporate a link. Maybe do what I said earlier, that if you're going to add a link, you post the actual blurb, like the caption, and then edit the post and add the link, or say, hey, the link is in the comments. So I want you to start using that strategy and see if you see an increase of visibility with your post.
Great. Thank you for that. Are some posts better to comment on than others?
Okay, so one thing that changed right now with LinkedIn over the summer is that I don't know if you noticed this, and I mentioned this in the podcast with you and Matt. When you post something, you don't see something for like 2 weeks. Like 2 weeks later, people start liking it randomly. So they changed the algorithm. So the thing that gets most traction right now is birthdays, work anniversaries. So I get inundated with those and I actually have turned them off. I've gone to the notifications, done the little three dots and said no more anniversaries or birthday announcements. I'm done with that. But some people might be like, you know what, my colleague or someone I really respect is celebrating a 17-year work anniversary. Take the time and leave a substantial comment saying, hey, I'm so happy for you, Jasmine, that you've celebrated these many years at this company based on our meeting you in real life and your work with this organization. I can tell that you're very passionate about the life sciences and passionate about marketing. And so, like, you put those substantial comments. And what I think about it, your comment's going to be seen by a wider audience than your network. So you want to put context. Anyone that's eavesdropping and maybe looking at your comment that's not connected to you might be like, how does Valentina know Jasmine? And so you want to put that context that, oh, we met at the uprising. We attended the same conference. We talked about, our dietary restrictions. Like we bonded over that. That sort of stuff makes people think, oh, they know each other. And how do they know each other? Like they want to dive in into, get a little bit more nosy about that.
Yeah, I think it's a curiosity gene that you're poking at there. So I completely agree. Still on the topic of
Yeah.
comments, you had mentioned how reach is significantly reduced when
Mhm.
you repost.
Yeah.
So is the idea to instead put comments in the original post to maximize reach?
So I do both. I like the double dip, so you definitely don't want to have chips and salsa with me. But I double dip. So in that case, I repost, like for example, this event. You guys were tagging me in post. I reposted it to my audience. I know only 1% is seeing that, but then I also commented and I put a substantial comment in each one of the posts that tagged me that was tagged in. So I leave a good comment and I repost. And then in my private channels, I have shared more information about the conference and used the picture that you guys kept using of me in my actual personal profiles.
Yeah. This whole concept of reposting is sort of turning people's heads a little bit because it's not intuitive, right? It seemed like if you repost with comments, you'd get a better reach, but you're
I know.
saying no, that's the
Yeah.
opposite.
Yeah, so again, you get only 0.5% reach when you share a post and then added a little blurb saying, "Hey, I'm going to be at this event." No, like if I was you, I would just repost or just post the picture. Hopefully, I was allowed to do that, Adam. But I got the picture of me, mentioning this webinar, and then I just shared that and added the caption and then put the link there. And I told people either go to link it in the comments, but I did that separately. But it's also it's I think about it as brownie points, and we mentioned this in the podcast. You don't know, a lot of people don't know this. So you can keep doing the reposting and be like, oh my goodness, Valentina shared my post. She's so sweet. When in reality, now only 1% of people actually see that.
Um, so is that a change in LinkedIn's algorithm, or was it like this all the time?
I'm not sure. That is a good question, Jasmine. I would have to follow up with you. I don't know the answer to that, but what matters is that you know this now, and now you take action. Now you know that this is the situation. So what are you going to do to cultivate that relationship with your audience and get that post seen to a bigger audience?
Mhm, mhm. So another question here is LinkedIn feels like the original Twitter or Facebook now.
I love it. Yeah.
where if you share selfies and look at me content is what gains the most engagement. Is that true? And how do I build credibility as a key opinion leader or subject matter expert with that type of content?
You know, I love that you asked this question. Whoever asked this question, you deserve a cookie or you deserve an extra piece of chocolate during your lunch break right now. Because that is such a great question. I was actually in a meeting with someone and she's like, you know what? I'm going to do something different with you, with Valentina. As opposed to meeting at a coffee shop, and I've been to so many coffee shops where I live now, we decided to walk in the park. And she feels like this. She's like, everyone's posting their lunch, everyone's posting what they're, these random things, not thought leadership. And I said, you know what? Why don't we do this? We're going to take a picture right now with us walking. And I want you to post something on LinkedIn. And everything that I learned from you, I want you to share this in a post. So if you look at the post, it's a picture of me, two women walking in a park. And you can't even tell it's me because I'm wearing my glasses and my hat. And I told her, I want you to do this. I want you to talk about everything that you just shared with me. Anyone that sees this post will find it so insightful. And what the thing was is I just moved to where I live. I used to live in Tennessee, now I'm in Pennsylvania. And she said, here are the top events that I would spend thousands of dollars to attend as a vendor. And I literally said, hey, do this as a post. This will be the perfect post. And it's if most people would see it and see two women, but if they actually take the time to read it, they'll learn, okay, we need to go to the Bethlehem Christmas market thing. We need to go to this. We need to go to this. We need to go to Oktoberfest. And I said, this post will get so many people looking at you and thinking of you as a thought leader because it took you 20 years working in this company to know that these are the places where you would spend thousands of dollars. In your case, it could be conferences that you spend thousands of dollars to attend because it propels you, it pushes you. So it might be a picture of a lunch or your food or what have you, or behind the scenes, but there's a story, and people take the time to read that story. They're like, man, here we are thinking it's just a picture of a food that she's eating or a picture of her walking. But that post, I learned so much about that person because of that.
Yeah, I completely agree, especially subject matter experts. You have a wealth of questions and customer engagements and internal discussions that you've had over the course of many years and even within the course of a week. Use some of that content. You don't have to give away anything proprietary, obviously, but
Yeah.
use some of that content to share how you think, to share tips that people may have forgotten about in a while.
And I want to add this again. We mentioned this. I keep mentioning this podcast because we really went spicy with that podcast. I can't tell you how many women that I know that have PhDs and they're just too shy. They're like, they hide under the desk. They're like hiding, like, I don't want no one to know me. But you owe it to yourself to put yourself out there. Maybe you might not post as much. Maybe you might not even post, maybe once a month, but you owe it to yourself to be seen. How do you be seen without putting yourself out there too much? By liking and commenting on people's posts. I like, I really want you to put yourself out there. And even if it takes doing that, if I don't post a picture of myself, I hate taking selfies. I'm saying it for the record. I hate doing selfies, but if I don't put myself out there and take a picture of me and post that once in a while, people won't think of me. They'll think of my competitor instead.
Yeah, yeah. And here's another great question. What is the value in liking or hitting any of the other emojis support insightful?
So that just tells a story. So for example, a lot of things like Jasmine, I don't know why, but I all most of the stuff that we react to when I'm commenting or stuff is the laugh emoji. So I think it makes you joy that I put the little laugh one or the support one. I click on the purple one that, oh, that's so good. That's so impressive. That's so sweet. I rarely click on the celebrate or the heart one. I kind of do like the random ones that people don't normally click on. But that shows that it's, a like is just, oh, I saw it. But if you put the other reactions, oh, I saw it, but I had a reaction to it, a little reaction to it. If you really want to help the person, they say that you should comment first and then react with the like.
Okay, super. And how do you feel, this is an interesting one, about
Okay.
AI generated images and text for posts?
So this is a great question. I have a couple of posts that I have this week, and they're all pictures of me. I hate that. I'm like, I need to use like an AI thing or do a video or do a carousel post. Carousel posts get the most traction right now, other than text only post. But when you use an AI post, if you're doing it all the time and I don't get to see your real face, then when I go to a conference, like the thing on December 4th, I'm like, which one is Jasmine? Like, who is Jasmine here? Like, so it's good to incorporate you once in a while. But if you want to use AI, if that makes you happy, if that's what it's going to take you to post something, then do it.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I really appreciate all the tips you've shared with us today, Valentina. And I'd like to encourage our audience to please check out samps.org for some of our previous webinars and for our upcoming events. Thank you again for attending and looking forward to seeing all of you again at our next webinar. Bye for now.
Thank you. Bye.